All right, so this video is not going to be too long, but I just want to touch on this topic real quick because a lot of people, they think gang culture is cool. They think growing up in a poverty-stricken neighborhood is cool. There's nothing cool with ricochet of bullets flying everywhere in the air. If you think that's cool, you need to go seek professional help. I think that's really dangerous. All of that is dangerous. You really just want to live a life in fear because that's all a ghetto is. They try to instill fear. They try to instill doubt. They want to doubt you. If you live in a neighborhood where nothing much really goes on, nobody really has a purpose outside of shooting and killing and violence, then that says a lot about you. That says a lot about the person you are. You want to be complacent. You want to be a complacent person. You want to just sit and just chill every single day, just rolling up weed. You just want to roll up a lot of weed and then get caught with the weed and now you're in jail and you leave jail and then you roll up more weed and then you go back to jail. You come out of jail, you kill somebody, you go back to jail for 30 years. You come out after 30 years and like, yeah, everyone's celebrating, right? But then you smoke more weed and you get caught with more weed. You go back to jail. You really want to live that cycle? Do you really want to live that cycle? You want to live the life that your parents had to go through? You really telling me that in your future, when you have kids, you really want them to grow up in the same environment as you? You really want them to do the same things that you were doing as a kid when they were your age? Or when you were their age, excuse me. Is that what you really want to do? Then go ahead, go smoke all the weed you want, do all the drugs you want, but don't complain when your child has to go to the roughest, toughest school in North Carolina or the roughest, toughest school in New York or the roughest, toughest school in Chicago, where they're getting beaten up every single day. They're getting beaten up every single day. Every single day. There's nothing cool about that. There's nothing cool. What's so cool about that? I don't get it. I really don't get it. You don't live a privileged life. You don't live a good life. Like I'm just gonna be honest. And that's that whole irony of all of it is that all the churches are around all the ghettos. There's a lot of churches, there's a lot of gas stations. And that's so funny because on Sunday you go to church and then after church, 2 days after, oh, you like you see someone you don't like and then you go end their life. Like it doesn't make sense. Like you're doing it dishonest to God. You're doing it dishonest to yourself. And then they say in our community we're all about a religion, right? If you're all about religion, if you're all about spirituality, then why are you committing violent acts? Why you keep going in and out of jail? Like literally doesn't make sense. Why do you think it's fun to have your kid in the middle of night, 2 a.m. in the morning, people shoot up your house. People shoot up your house. When your kids try to sleep, there's been cases where kids they're in the rooms, they're trying to sleep. And then all of a sudden a car just goes through the neighborhood and just starts shooting at the house. And then the kid gets shot and it ends up dead. Like that's nothing cool about that. And also the funeral expenses too. Like, do you know how much money a funeral costs? It's so expensive. Like, a funeral cost is so expensive. You don't understand. I never had to go through that, honestly. I've never actually been into a funeral. But from what I've heard, a funeral, you have to look at the arrangements, the caskets, how many people are going to be there. You're going to have to do all that stuff, right? You're going to have to do all that stuff to get it prepared. You don't want to go through that. You don't want to go through that. Like I'm very privileged. I didn't have to live in that life, but I know I have some friends that have been in that situation, but thankfully and luckily they've gone out. Luckily they started not to be complacent. They started to actually do something about it. They didn't want their kid to go to the roughest, toughest school in New York and then just get beat up by the biggest bully in the school. Like that's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. So you know what they did? They're like, I'm not doing this. I'm not gonna go out like this. And that's what I'm saying. Gang culture, there's nothing cool about that. There's nothing cool with being locked up. Honestly, that restricts your freedom. The government, everybody, they make money off of you. Off of you being in jail, they make money off of you. So that's why it's so important to stay away from the jail system and stay away from anything that can incriminate you because what happens is the media also portrays that as like a source of entertainment. So, and it's so prevalent. It's so prevalent in social media. Everybody praises this like it's a good thing, because everybody, they just want to be entertained. Like, bro, everybody just wants to be entertained. That's all I'm gonna say. Everybody just wants to be entertained, whether it has to do with violence. People still find joy in violence. People still find joy in violence, no matter what. Everybody finds joy in so many weird things. There's so many weird things on the internet people find joy in. So there's always an audience for something, and there's a big audience. There's a big audience for violence. Everybody gravitates towards that because, a lot of people have boring lives. They have boring lives, so they look into that as like an outlet. Oh, at least I'm not like that person, or at least I'm not like him. At least I'm not like her. At least I'm not in their situation. So people just, there's a big audience. Everyone likes that. Everyone likes that because it's like, at the end of the day, we all want to be entertained. Whether it's, billionaires, they still want to be entertained. They still want to take over the world. They still want to control how people live, right? They want to control what's around them, because you have to understand, billionaires, they have a lot of money. So after some point in time, they're gonna get bored because they've already had what they wanted. They've already been a billionaire. So of course they're gonna look for other outlets. They're gonna look for other things that are necessary to please them, or to for them to find happiness in, and that's controlling the world. Just recently, right now, Elon Musk, he's planning to create like a microchip. Yeah, a microchip. He's planning to have a microchip where it basically, it gets injected into people, right? And then it basically helps them to become more functional. And I don't know how it works, but things like that, it provides more, how do I say it? It provides more, happiness for them, because they've already achieved what they wanted. Like, how much more money do you want, right? So of course they want to take over the world. They want to control how people live. So basically the microchip, I want to explain it more deeply. So the microchip basically helps with like, I think bone structure. I'm not so sure, but I think it has something to do with like bone structure, and it like stabilizes, like basically, all the muscles and all the tissues in your body, and it basically prevents like injuries and stuff. It's cool, but at the same time, kind of iffy, because it hasn't even been approved yet. But when it gets approved, that's actually going to be a crazy thing that's going to happen. So things like that are happening, and a lot of people are not paying attention to that. Believe it or not, a lot of people are not paying attention to scientific stuff like that.